Hi, everybody in the amputee community. We're going to wait a minute because we want some participants to log on. Give it a little bit longer. But in the meantime, today is part 2 of furthering the discussion about wound care. And today we brought some samples and some liners and socks and some legs. So we can kind of dive into that later. But this is kind of what we were shooting for, to be able to give some real feedback on some supplies.
Right. So Carl, and hi everyone, Jennifer, Executive Director, Amputee Aid, Carl Allison, founder of Amputee Aid. We talked somewhat jokingly last week about all of the different kinds of supplies that you need. Yeah. And I asked you, so what are some of the names of the products? And you did not know. Yes, and, we promised to come back with the actual names and products, and we thought we would turn it into a segment that we can record to show the actual products, talk about when you would use them, how you would use them, what they're for, how you found out about them. Yeah. But then you also brought us some of your legs too, so we can talk a little bit about them and what they're intended for, and kind of talk more about your journey, in which in some ways, and you've referenced this before, you have the privilege of being able to have these supplies. Correct. And legs. And not everybody does, which is one of the reasons you founded Amputee Aid, was to help folks who don't have that privilege. True? Okay. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So some housekeeping. Have you guys picked up on her mic is still not working properly?
I can hear it.
But it's cutting in and out.
Wah, wah. It's going to take a couple more tries, I guess. They always say third time is a charm, but not for me. I'm usually a 5 or 6 tries kind of person.
Seems like it's sounding better already, though.
So I move.
You're just not allowed to move.
I'll just be very, very still. I'm going to practice my yoga skills. This is core strength. Just sit like this.
But so anyway, I brought some liners. So obviously I have 3 legs here. One I'm wearing. I have a running leg, and then I brought a third leg, which is really just it's kind of I use it to shower. We call it the water leg, but it's kind of a universal backup. It's a very rigid foot. The sockets, one of my first sockets, doesn't fit perfect, but again, I'm only using it to get in and out of the shower, or if I'm going to be, potentially on a beach or walking into the water, or maybe the lake or something. It comes in handy in those situations because it doesn't have a lot of moving parts, but it's not extremely comfortable either, but I use it for the right reasons. It has a different liner, which I'll show you later. Then I have this blue liner that you see here in front as well, is my everyday liner, but it's also the same liner I use in my running leg. So, and then I did bring my running leg just so we can kind of profile what that looks like, what it is, and we can dive into that as well.
Can we start with the legs and then talk about the products and when and how you would use them? Because I think for some people, myself included, when I started working for this nonprofit, my understanding of what it meant to be an amputee was focused on my grandmother, who lost both of her legs, but at different times because of diabetes. Yeah. And she was very advanced in age, had no interest in getting a prosthetic, used a wheelchair, and I love my grandmother, and I cringe a little bit to say this, but in many ways, given up on being able to be mobile. So I didn't know a lot about prosthetic legs. And I think some people, when they hear water leg, they think swimming, right? But water leg is used more interchangeably to talk about when you need to get something wet. True. So shower, lake, that kind of thing. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly, I use it every day in the shower. I don't have to rely on a chair. I can stand. It allows me it can get wet. It's all stainless steel and for the most part, carbon fiber. So even the liner is a little more porous, allows the water to kind of flow through it a little easier. So it's just, it just makes things a little more convenient for me.
Now, you are a triathlete. Triathlete? Is that a word? You do yes. Triathlons. Is it triathlete? Is that what you say?
I guess you can say that.
So when you are running and then you are swimming, which or the reverse, which Do you bring two legs, or do you just use your running leg, or how does that work?
I don't. I use my running leg obviously to run, but I use my everyday leg to get to the water.
Okay.
But I don't swim with a leg on.
Okay.
So I might walk down to the water with the water leg, but once they blow the whistle to start, I take it off and get in the water with one leg and swim. And then when I complete the swim, I put it on to get to the transition area. But once I get to the transition area, I put on my everyday leg to bike. And then when I'm done biking, I put on my running leg to go do the running.
So for you, packing isn't just packing your clothes, it's packing various legs as well. Yes. So at what point did you acquire these legs? These built up over time, or did you get them all at once?
I got one leg, and that's pretty basic. That's normal. You get one leg and you make do. I wanted to run, so I really pushed the issue about having a running leg. So I eventually got a running leg second so that I could start training, which is a whole other, conversation about that process. But once I had the running leg, I also started to see that the running leg was a lot more comfortable. It's because it was a newer socket. And that prompted us to start talking about the next leg, moving into a socket that was more comfortable because I had transitioned, my leg shrunk a little bit. So instead of throwing that away, I was kind of researching, and I liked the feel of the running leg because I felt like it gave me a lot of return energy.
I see.
I didn't like the flat, unmovable foot. I didn't like the
water leg here.
Right. Okay. But I didn't care for the other things that they offered, which would be things that were more electric or had other mechanisms in them to help move. I just wanted something simple and basic. I didn't want a lot of moving parts or problematic issues. So for me, that was important. So when I got the everyday leg, as you can see, it's very similar to the running leg as far as the design and the style of the socket. And then what happened was I took the old socket and the old foot and I transitioned it into something I could put in the water without having it. And it was a pin lock, so you don't have to worry about it falling off in a lake.
So for people who are new to this world, could you tell us what a pin lock is?
Sure. So a pin lock. So there's always different options of how you're going to connect to your socket. Most are going to either be cushion or they're going to have air. So it's suction basically. A pin lock has a pin at the end of the liner, so it locks into a mechanism inside the socket. So it's still floating inside the socket, but it's locked in. So if it became loose or you're swimming, you don't have to worry about your leg falling off and going to the bottom of the lake.
Because of the suction is getting lost.
Right,
Sure.
exactly.
I see. Now, if we can pause here for a moment, if you can still hold that up.
Sure.
A few webinars ago, we talked about your intentions of having osseointegration surgery.
Correct.
And the pin that we see there is essentially what would be implanted into the bone. Is that right?
Not exactly.
Concept? Okay, help us understand the difference there.
So essentially, I could show you a little easier.
Yeah, let's see it.
So on the water leg, there's a connection here where these have screws that come off and go on. What you're seeing on the top of my leg here is
let's hold it to that. There we go.
Osseointegration. So you have an adapter sticking out of the bottom of your leg, direct connect to your bone.
I see.
So you're really just connecting the foot. And you might need spacers or things like that, but your connection to what's coming out. So it's a true connection piece that you basically vice on with a tool.
So the entire socket piece is gone. It's the metal
socket,
piece there.
No liners or nothing. Direct connect to your skeletal system.
So for viewers who might be watching this recording, if they haven't done a lot of research or maybe they don't know anyone who's had that surgery yet, is the size of the implant about the size of the metal piece that we're seeing on the water leg there?
Yes.
Quite
that doesn't
big.
necessarily mean that's the size of what's going inside of your tibia, but for me, it's a connection with that goes inside of your bone, which is titanium, and then it's connected to that titanium, and then that's how it's connected then to a foot. So it's a second piece, I guess.
Okay. Now I'm noticing on the water leg and the running leg that you have that the socket piece looks different. So this one's much higher, or is it just the angle that I'm looking at? Are they the same?
It is taller.
It is taller.
Because when I'm wearing the water leg, it was designed for me to stand straight and be level. So my shoulders wouldn't be like slagging down or up. But on a running leg, you have to understand it. The concept, the engineering behind the blade is it only works when you're running. So it's going to flex. So you need it to be taller. So obviously I don't wear it every day because of that. I would be taller on the right side, but when I run, it's now flexing with the full weight of my body. So I'm able to level off when I'm running with it. If I'm walking with it, it's not level because it's not flexing.
I see. And the leg in the middle there, tell us a little bit more about that one.
That's not a leg.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking across the table.
That is
so
a
I don't
liner.
see the bottom. That's just the liner. Okay.
It's in a dryer. I brought a dryer just so people can see how when they're clean, they have to let them dry properly so that they would have a stand instead of just laying it flat.
Sure.
It allows it to dry quicker and keep anything from dust or anything from getting inside.
We mentioned that last week that you have these dryers where you would, after you've washed the liner, that you put it on there. And that's what we're talking about.
Correct.
So it's not are there, if you know, and I feel like I'm asking you silly questions, but we've seen a lot of questions on social media like this. So today's philosophy is no question is too silly, but I might test that rule a little bit. We'll see how close I get.
Sillier the better.
All right. Well, challenge accepted. Are there dryers that are that blow air, like a mechanical type of dryer, or is it air drying only in your experience?
These are air dry only, and I don't know if I think that would be great because you don't want to introduce dust inside of your liner. So that doesn't mean there's one out there that might work. I wouldn't do it though. They dry pretty quick. If I clean them in the morning, I put it on a dryer. The next day I can wear it. It's dry.
So you mentioned something very important, which is the concept of introducing dust or dirt or germs, which brings us to the larger point of our webinar today, which is how do you care for not just your limb, but what you are putting on your limb, and what do you do to avoid bacteria, infections, skin irritation, and that's why you've brought these products to us.
Yes, and there's thousands of products out there. This is just what I use, and a lot of trial and error here, but I just thought it would be nice to go over what I do that works for me. I'm sure it would work for other people, and it's definitely a start.
Sure.
And,
sure. So let's start with telling us what each of these products are, and then I'd like you to show us kind of a day in the life of, kind of a typical day of what you would do and how you would use these products. And I might interject with some questions that we've seen people ask, but let's start with what you have here.
Sure.
Show and tell.
I want to start with the things I use every day. Some of these products are backups, or maybe they're a little more stronger in case of, something more severe.
Okay.
So I'll try to do each one individually, but let's start with what I use every day. The main thing that I would like to talk about is antifungal balm. So this, I don't leave home without it. It's just this is something you can order on Amazon. This is Perea, but there's other kinds. But I mean, the zinc is the real main ingredient. It smells like eucalyptus. It has like a mint flavor to it, but it's just a small cream. It's kind of like a lip balm.
Do you mind if I smell it? That is a weird question, but I want to know, what does it smell like? Yeah, it smells actually very good.
Yeah. So
you can smell the eucalyptus in there.
Exactly. So this is for when you have potential, especially if you're in a lake like me a lot.
Yep, we talked about that too.
If I have a hot spot or if I see even one red dot, I'm putting this on, and it's really just keeping me from getting a rash. It's keeping me from, if there is bacteria that was introduced, I put this in there and I don't have to worry about it. Sometimes it's just going to happen. It's really difficult to keep everything out of your liner.
Sure.
You're around, you go to a friend's house, they have cats, you're going to get dander in there no matter how you try.
Yeah.
So, but having this, it eliminates the risk. And so I just don't leave home without it.
Now this looks like a fairly small bottle. So how long, how many days or months would that last?
This actually will last me at least 3-4 months maybe.
Really?
And that's using it quite a bit.
Okay.
The reason I buy the small one is because I like to travel with it.
Sure.
So I just get a bunch of them. It's not cheap. This brand is, there's some cheaper ones out there, but this was the one that it was just easy, convenient. I like to put it on with my fingers and not have to use any, an applicator or spray.
How much would something like that cost?
This is $25. So
Really?
Little, and it's only going to last you. Let's just say 3 months to
3
be
months.
safe.
Okay. All right. So a little over $8 a month.
Yeah.
And I noticed it's kind of like a Vaseline-y kind of look.
Yes.
Is this something where a little goes a long way, or do you slather it on, or does
No.
it depend on the skin condition?
A little goes a long way.
A little goes a
You're
long way.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's all right. So what else have you got there
Okay.
for us?
So the next thing I want to talk about is this. So this is therapeutic soap, all over body wash, but I specifically use this for washing my liners on every day. It's same thing. It smells. It's tea tree mint. So
Okay.
it's the company's called Dermanew. Again, you can get it on Amazon. They have different sizes. You can get smaller ones. You can get larger, applicator sizes. This lasts me probably a month. Same price,
Okay.
$25
For 1 month supply of that.
1 month supply.
Now, is this product made specifically for amputees, or is this something that
No.
you found that works for you?
This is just something I found that works for me.
How'd you find it?
I just researched it online. I get it on Amazon, but it says it right on the cover. It helps eliminate fungus, bacteria, body odor, soothes dry, itchy skin. If you're
Yeah.
wearing one of these bad boys, for
Yes.
10, 12, 20 hours a day, this comes in really handy and just taking care of your residual limb, and you can use it on your liners.
I see. Okay. So dual purpose.
Also, I think
Okay.
it's, point this out.
Yes. What
This is
that?
an antibacterial loofah.
Okay.
So it's not like your typical, what do you want to call that? Rubber?
It's a rubber or silicone, probably.
Silicone,
Hopefully,
there
you
we
don't
go.
mind if I'm touching it.
No,
So it
it's-
doesn't have all of
Mhm.
the spongy quality of like a
Right.
loofah that you would use in a shower. That's going to keep all that bacteria.
Right.
This is nice and
Exactly.
silicone based, and there's two different textures on it. So do you
Correct.
use both sides?
I do.
Okay.
So, and this is new, by the way.
Okay. Sorry. My hands are clean. I washed them before we started.
This has never been used.
Okay.
So the back is used for the outside of the liner. So, or if you have a heavier spot, and then this side I use on my leg and on the inside of the liner.
Okay.
Basically I just squirt 2 and hot water,
Okay.
and I'm done.
Okay.
I use it on my residual limb as well.
I was going to ask you that. When you say
That's-
leg, which leg are you referring to?
Yeah, just
Okay.
the residual limb
Okay.
and the liners. That's
Got
the
it.
only time I use this. And every day I travel with one of these, and I have one at home.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
So if we can pause, and if this is too personal, please, you don't have to answer, but we're talking all about you and your limb.
Why not?
So I'm just thinking in my head what your routine is like. Is this something where it's in the morning, you're showering, and you just happen to, this is part of the shower process, or
It
this,
is.
it is. Okay.
Yes, this is just every day. for
Every
me.
day?
Every day I'm cleaning the liners.
Okay.
1 or 2 or 3,
Okay.
in the shower. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then they go to a dryer immediately after.
And hang there.
So.
Okay. All right. So we talked about this. What else have you got there?
So this is also this is a specific for amputees.
Okay.
This is a prosthetic cleanser. So this is for sensitive skin. So if I'm having a problem, if I get a rash and it got bad, and sometimes it's because the liner, it's in the liner.
Okay.
This is a little more intense, but it's a lot more expensive. This is probably $100.
It is. And what
So-
brand is that there?
Is
Is it Prosthetic Cleanser's the brand? No, that's what it is. But
it comes from Amputee Store. It's their brand.
Okay.
So I don't. Yeah, it doesn't really have a brand. Just Alps is the name of the company that makes it.
okay.
How
How
so-
long would that bottle last you?
This bottle actually lasts me a long time because
Okay.
I don't use it all the time.
Got it.
Now, here's when I would use it: when I get a brand new liner.
Okay.
Liners show up. When you get them, they already kind of have a film on the inside of the liner, which is a protective film. You don't want that on your leg, so I clean it. That's more of an the first time you're going to clean it, you want to clean it really well. I use this the first time. And then I use this if I know I was put in a situation where I think I would need a little extra care on that
see.
prosthetic, because this also protects the liner, has a little more to it. But if you're taking care of your liners every day, this is the way to go.
I see.
This is nice to have on the shelf. Like I said, when you have a new liner, or if you have I know I spent some time in the lake, I was camping all week,
Okay.
and maybe use it that time and then go back to your daily.
I see. All right. So you are each smart enough to know when you are in a compromising position and when you're not. But just this is the kind of thing where it's a little bit questionable. It's more likely that you're going to have some kind of bacteria. You want to be extra cautious. Use the super expensive cleanser.
Now,
okay.
This is actually a prescription. Can you say that word?
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
Ketoconazole. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to all the doctors or healthcare professionals who are watching this right now. Ketoconazole.
Close enough.
Ketoconazole shampoo.
Yeah.
I did really well in college and grad school, but I can't pronounce this. Okay.
No.
So this is by prescription only. So your doctor prescribed this to you or someone did?
This came from the hospital that basically, so when the first time I had a real infection on my leg, they gave me this and it cleared it up pretty quick.
Okay.
I liked it because it was a little more extra strength, if you will. So I ordered another one. I haven't even used this one, but it's on the shelf, because usually antifungal balm works and keeps me from getting, a rash. But sometimes once you get a rash and it starts spreading, it's really hard to get rid of. And you cannot don your liners and wear your leg. It's painful. So you've got to take care of it. This 24 hours.
Okay.
Wonderful product. So I don't know how to pronounce that, but we'll make sure it's put up on there. And
so we can see.
I don't know if you can zoom in, but there you go.
So it is a medicated shampoo that was by prescription. So you probably had a co-pay, but you didn't have to pay the full shelf price, I assume. Or did you?
I will tell you that this is like, you can probably find this over the counter. I don't know what it would be called once you know that. And it says shampoo, but clearly it's not. I don't use it as shampoo. But this was like $18. It was not expensive.
Okay. All right.
Of course, it's not a lot either, but you wouldn't use it that much.
You would not. Okay. So we've got a couple other ointments and bottles. I want to talk about those, and then I want to talk about the socks that you have here.
These other 4 items are not everyday use.
Okay.
They are more preventative. So this product I got also TheraWorks, which is is a protectant that you put on your leg. So sometimes you're out in the cold or in the heat and those kind of measures. This is just a protective cover that a barrier that you can put on your leg. I don't use it all the time, but if I know I'm going to be swimming in a lake or a river where there's a high bacterial count, I will put this on my leg.
Okay.
And maybe it's just me, but it works. I don't have to, in my mind, it's giving me a little bit of peace of mind.
It's extra barrier, extra protection before you introduce the bacteria.
Exactly.
Now, is that something that's made for amputees, or is this something that you found that works for you?
This is something that was made for amputees.
Okay.
It's a foam system. There's other kinds. There's lotions, whatever. I like the foam because I just put it on my hands.
Foam.
And then I just rub it on. It's like a soap almost, but it does kind of a little sticky, but that's how you know it's protecting you a little bit.
Is it like those foams that you can get at, like Bath and Body Works has this kind of soap that when you spray, it comes out as a foam and then you use it. It's similar to that.
Very similar.
Okay.
Yes. So,
TheraWorks. All right.
So Cavalon is made for stings. Like if you have a burn, if you spray this on that, it'll take the sting away, protect the skin. It actually works with bee stings or burns, things like that. Good to have. It's not a very big, it's just a little spray bottle. If you get a hot spot, or if you actually get a mosquito bite on your residual limb.
Oh,
you're gonna want something like this to protect yourself. And it does help with, adhesive things. Like anytime you got a liner on a lot, you're going to have pinches,
irritation,
wears, irritated areas.
Okay.
This works to spray over that. It helps with the healing, and it also allows you to be a little more comfortable the next day when you still have a slight problem. Having that in your bag is nice.
Was this one over the counter or online or prescription?
I'm sorry. Yes, this was over the counter.
Over the counter.
Cavalon you can get at Walmart, Target. I ordered mine on Amazon. So.
Okay. All right. And we've got 2 more over here, and then we've got the lotion.
Another, this is Amputee Essentials. This is chafe barrier. So anti-friction. This was also ordered on Amputee Store.
Okay.
So it's a great product when you have a hot spot, because especially for me, I didn't need it until I started running long distance, and I started realizing I had one spot that it would just, no matter what, maybe it was because of my gait, when you're running a long distance, things move, shift, you swell up a little bit. And I always had a hot spot in the same spot. So I knew to put this on before I would start. So anytime you have a hot spot, whether it's a bad fit on your socket or whatever that may be, having this in your go bag comes in handy.
It's handy. Now, how much did that cost?
Now, this, I believe, this wasn't expensive. I would say it was probably $15.
Okay.
So,
how long would it last you?
a long time. A little bit goes a long way. Same thing. And this is a pretty sizable 3 fluid ounce, but I mean, it's, I've had this for several months now.
You know, I would imagine even for leg amputees who are active working, maybe they are up a lot for work, they have a construction job, or they're standing and sitting a lot, that this might be helpful for them too. Not just, although it's important for athletes, or anytime you have that repetitive physical activity, you might consider something like that.
Yeah, it's anti-friction. My youngest daughter was getting a blister because her shoes didn't fit right on the back of her heel.
Sure.
I put a little bit on the back of her heel, and it was perfect. She didn't have any problems.
Okay, great. And I noticed you have another potted item there too.
Last item. So this is a draw salve. So rare that you would need this, but this draws things out. You get a splinter, ingrown hair, it can make it very uncomfortable if you have an ingrown hair under a sleeve. This just helps the healing process, helps draw that out, and keeps you from having those kind of issues.
And is this something that was made for amputees for limb issues, or something that you found and it seems to work for you?
I just found it. It worked, and I've kept it in the arsenal ever since.
I see. Okay. All right. And there's also Gold Bond lotion over the counter. Folks use Gold Bond for lots of different things. Amputees and none. Okay.
I put this on almost every night. If I'm not putting anything else on, I don't have any issues, no rash, no nothing, I'm going to put this on just to protect my skin and just, preventative maintenance. But it's just hydrating cream. You're wearing a liner a long time. You just take care of your skin. That's just like any daily thing. This was just one that I like. It's got moisturizers and vitamins in it. And honestly, if I have a very light hot spot, maybe it doesn't need or require the expensive stuff from the chafing. This usually helps with that too.
Okay. Now, I noticed one thing we don't have on the table, but I wanted to ask you about, and there was a comment on TikTok about this, is sunscreen. So if you are out at the beach, maybe you're doing the swimming part of a triathlon and you're not wearing a leg, is there any difference in the type of sunscreen or care that you would use to avoid sunburns on your limb?
Yeah, I don't personally. I just I treat it just like the rest of my body.
Okay.
Other than the fact that sometimes it doesn't see the sun as much.
Right, exactly. That's one of the questions. It might be a little more, sensitive to sun if it's not out in the sun every day.
Yeah, it's mine's not. I tan just like anywhere else. But I would admit, like, if I'm putting on a 30 SPF, I might put 50 on there just because I don't want to risk it burning.
Right.
But to be honest, I don't know if that's necessary. I think your skin is your skin, and you know what's best for you. And if that's what you have to do to protect yourself, but regular sunscreen on your leg is fine. Just be aware that when you're done, you want to clean it.
Clean it. Yeah. Or your arm or wherever your amputation is.
Yes.
Now, have you ever had a sunburn on your limb?
Yes.
I'd imagine that's painful.
Yeah. It's like being sunburnt and wearing a tight shirt. It's just uncomfortable. And it's your own fault, right? It's a self-inflicted pain. So I protect yourself, wear sunblock. But if you get a sunburn, it's not the end of the world.
That's why preventative stuff is so important.
Exactly.
Now, we have some other things on the table here, including socks.
Yes.
And they look different. So educate us on the differences and why we have them here.
Yes. So there are obviously lots of different socks. So obviously the type of liner you have is going to dictate what kind of socks you wear. Because I wear a pin lock, I basically have socks that go over the liner. They have a hole in the bottom to go over the pin. And then there's different sizes. So there's 5-ply, 3-ply, no ply, like the thinner socks. So right now they sell 3 products like that. So these are both 5-ply. One is white, one is black, but they're 100% the same purpose. I typically do keep a lot of 3-plies. That's best for me. 5 can be a little too thick, especially in the mornings. So you carry maybe I carry one or two in my bag just to be safe.
Yeah.
Some are thinner than others. But the liners are great. They're anywhere from $20 to $50 a piece, depending on the brand, where you buy them.
Where do you buy yours?
I order all mine from Amputee Store.
Yeah.
And then obviously VA also supplies me with some.
Sure.
But in a pinch, they come pretty quick. But can you just take a regular sock? Yes.
I asked you that last week.
You can.
Yeah.
You can take a regular sock like this and punch a hole in the bottom, but this actually isn't a regular sock. This is actually an underliner sock. So if you're having a lot of sweat, or if you have a day where you're going to be exposed to, for example, I was helping a friend bale hay one time, and I knew there was going to be a lot of dust and bad things in the air. So I put a liner under my liner. So that's what this is. It really is kind of a sock, but it keeps your skin protected, and it kind of protects the inside of your liner. And
it it has wicking properties. It takes some of the moisture out.
Yes, it keeps me from sweating. So it's just like normal, what a sock does.
So we have a follower on TikTok who was traveling from a northern state like us to San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
And had discovered that it's very, very hot in San Antonio, Texas, and limb was swelling. And he went to a running store, and they had something similar to this for amputees that was moisture wicking.
Yes.
So that he could use just to go about. He wasn't running, but he wanted something to remove that sweat from the limb.
Yes.
And so that's a common thing for amputees. And this type of you call it an undersock, helps with that.
It does. And they make them very thin, so you're not taking up any depth on the liner or whatever. But I rarely wear those. I mean, I avoid baling hay more than trying to find that rock. So.
It's a good reason not to do work that causes you to sweat.
It's a great excuse.
Right? We don't suggest you use your condition as an excuse, but hey, if you need a reason not to do it, you don't want to do it, this is a reason.
Precisely.
Now, for folks who are new into this world, just to educate everyone, when we talk about plies of socks, the higher the number, the thicker the sock, right?
Correct.
And so what are some reasons that you would use different plies throughout a day or throughout a week? Educate us on that.
Yeah, simple. I mean, your leg retains water just like anything else. I mean, it swells up or shrinks throughout the day. So you basically could start off with no liner or sock, and then by the end of the day, put a thin one on. And as your socket as you lose weight or as it gets smaller, you just keep adding socks. So I've worn 2 5-ply socks at some point because I'm trying to avoid having to get a new socket.
Like you doubled them up.
Yeah. Because the only option now, if it doesn't work with the socks, is to go change your socket, which now takes you got to go to a doctor, go meet with your prosthetist.
Pay for it.
Right.
And Carl, you went right where I was going to go next with a question that we saw on TikTok, which is, for someone who was brand new into this world, your limb changes, especially soon after your amputation, right?
Yes.
So did you find for yourself that you were changing socks more often when your amputation was relatively new as opposed to when you were, later into it?
Yes, absolutely. Your first year as an amputee, you're gonna go through a lot of change. Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a great crash course in the learning your body and understanding the differences in the socks and having those supplies and carrying them with you just to be safe and having that extra is just going to be better for your comfort throughout the day.
Sure.
So if I start off with 1 sock, by the end of the day I'm wearing 2. It gets to a point where I got to put a 3rd on there. Then it's time to talk to your
doctor. Yeah. And as with any question that you have, it's okay to ask, right? We started out saying there's no stupid questions, but I've got one coming up, so I'm going to challenge you. But don't get frustrated if you are new into this world. Recently, we have become an amputee, whether it's arm, hand, leg, something else. Don't feel like there's something wrong with you if you are switching socks a lot. Some of that's a normal change of your body. Some of it is just you learning trial and error, right? What works for you isn't necessarily what works for Carl or someone else that you met online or at the doctor's office, right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, so here's my question. You said there's no stupid questions. I'm thinking about myself. If I eat too much salty food, my feet swell up and I can't put my shoes on.
Same.
Okay, that is true. So so your limb can also change based on the type of food that you eat. Just like any other part of your body.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, I mean, retaining water because you ate too much salty food.
Okay.
Not drinking enough water. Now you're dehydrated. A lot of things can change why your leg's not fitting great today and fit better yesterday, and you have to be ready to adapt and understand that. But you're going to learn it. You're going to pay more attention to it as an amputee. But I personally have found that having the socks, I'm almost to a point where I can make it through the day without changing anything.
Really?
So it's a much easier. I'm not getting a lot of the swelling. My leg's not changing much anymore.
Okay.
I'm pretty diligent in trying not to lose weight or gain weight. I just want to maintain, stay healthy. I'm not watching what I eat, but I know if I'm, spending a lot of time, especially when you travel, we understand, you're going to eat, salty foods, right?
Sure.
You're craving salty food or whatever. If you drink too much wine, you're going to have the same scenario. So if you know that and you're mindful of your diet and you know how it's going to affect you, it makes your day-to-day and your decision-making skills a little easier. I personally just found that, what doesn't bother me, I either eliminated it completely or I just found a workaround. Yeah. So.
Now, we mentioned last week, and then you mentioned today, go bags. And so it's a great tip if you have a little go bag of all your daily essentials to get you through the day in a way that's comfortable. So what is in your typical go bag? Everyday go bag.
I mean, I think that's what you're seeing here.
All of this.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a real day for me, and I know I'm running today, I'm going to be swimming in the morning, I'm running in the afternoon,
working during the day,
training, working throughout the day. I was traveling for 2 days, so I had a bad diet. So I'm going to bring extra socks in my bag. I'm going to have all 3 sizes. I'm going to have a change of socks to protect my other foot just in case. I'm traveling with all of my legs because I need them. I'm going to have extra liner in the bag. I'm going to have an extra water liner in the bag. I'm probably going to bring the antifungal. I'm going to bring the salve, and I'm going to bring the healing cream. I'm going to have most of what you see here in my bag, or at least somewhere where I can get to it. In the back of my car. If I'm not going far from my house, that's a big plus. But if I know I'm going to be at the office all day, I'm working, but I got this big day of things I want to accomplish, and then I'm going to have to pack a gym bag, if you will.
So, and then which is a good tip for amputees and their caregivers or support system: get a go bag, create a go bag. Then it's always there. You've got the supplies that you need on hand, so you're not left without and risking an infection or something else.
We're going to call it an AGB. We got to come up with a term for that.
Yeah, we need a cool term.
An amputee go bag, an AGB.
Email us or somebody. We have some folks attending the webinar. Put it in the comments or email us what you would suggest it is.
A lot of military folks are going to be like, a go bag is different. That is what you put in the woods and cache with your weapons and your,
so we don't want to be
you have to avoid communism one day or something.
We need a different name for that. Now, you mentioned traveling. So I want to go back to traveling for a moment, and then we'll see if there are any questions that anyone has. So let's say you're taking a 2-day business trip and you're flying. Do you pack your legs in your carry-on? Is there a special luggage? Like, what would you do? Would you just put that in your carry-on bag?
No, it's a check. It's a checked bag.
Checked bag.
Guys.
Okay.
It won't fit in a carry-on. You will not be able to travel for 2 days as an amputee with a carry-on. Not with the situation I deal with. Now, if your leg's smaller and you have different opportunities, this is just me personally. No. Plus, if it's in my carry-on bag, you're guaranteed going to be stopped, and they're going to
by TSA.
TSA is going to want to see what that is that just went through their belt.
Right. This is a giant metal blade for some of these.
Yeah.
Right?
No, like even when I go through security now, I get checked. I'm put on a chair. They're swabbing me because you can't take your leg off and hop through you're going to walk through with. It's just like. Which I guess they changed some of the rules, but you used to have to take your shoes off. I don't take my shoes off.
You're not taking your shoes off.
For me to take my shoe off, I got to take the leg off. So they're going to get the best of that when I come through. But this travels with me. Like if I'm traveling for more in a day, yes, this is all going with me. Absolutely.
Okay.
The chance of you finding a store that's going to help you with this in a pinch is not good. So I travel with it. Most of what I have here is over the 4-ounce roll, and so a check on. It's inconvenient, but it's better for me to be safe than sorry.
Do you have to pay full price to check your medical supplies? Like this is medical supplies. You have to pay full price.
I never thought of that, but yes,
I feel like that's an issue that we need to address. I mean, it feels in some ways discriminatory that you have to pay extra to take your daily essentials to go about your day as someone who has a disability, or we would say is other abled. I'm just planting that seed. Does it not feel unfair? For some people, a $25 check bag fee is a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Or
it
more.
Never dawned on me. And yes, it is expensive when you have to check a bag, simply because, normal circumstances, I would go out of my way to find a way to travel with just a, carry-on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Anything else that you want to share about what you've brought or how you would use them? And then we'll see if we have any questions on our webinar.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I just, sorry, I don't always think of the right things to say, but
these are all the right answers.
Love to hear some questions from anybody out there.
Nick, do we have any questions on our webinar? We have no questions yet. Okay, so we answered all, or I asked them all. I'm never one to shy away from asking questions.
Well,
so that would be okay if we don't have any questions.
Carl, I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
So, as someone that's not an amputee, I get an injury, I get a wound, and I take care of it, and it's gone. Is this something that you have to constantly care for every day? Or is this just something like, okay, I was out running, it's a little irritated, it flared up, so I got to take care of it for a week, and then I'm good for a while?
Yeah, I mean, you're hyper focused on the health of your legs or if you only have one arm, you're going to be hypersensitive to the same thing. It's devastating if something would happen to my left leg. I can't stress that enough. Like, we're talking about wound care and taking care of the prosthetic and your residual limb. You also got to take care of your feet, your other leg, and the strength and of what you do. Vigilant all the way across the board when it comes to that. It does me no good to only focus on one leg and then have a problem with my left leg. Even running on uneven ground scares me, because I'm thinking, what if I twist my ankle?
Right.
You get an ACL tear, any of those things. I had a shin splint the other day, and I was like, oh, what do I got to do to fix this? Like, it's because that's your leg. I mean, that's the leg that carries you when you need to hop, when you need something else. But without the prosthetic's useless if the left leg's not around. So yeah, you got to take care of it.
In fact, Carl, you shared with us, I think it was last week's webinar, that when you go see your doctor to check out your prosthetic, they look at your other foot.
Yeah.
They want to know how your other leg is doing for that very reason.
Yeah. They were mad at me because I was missing a toenail. I'm like, well, it's normal when you run long distance. And they're like, no, it's not. You're an amputee. We need to get this fixed. And they were like, you got to be more mindful. You can't just do that. You can't, what if that gets infected? And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
We had a comment come through on TikTok a couple of days ago. And by the way, we mentioned TikTok because we are on TikTok. Please follow us. We post a lot of information there and videos and clips of our webinars and things like that about someone who was a lower leg amputee and below the knee and had been traveling for work and was in so much pain for like walking and things for seminars that she decided that she was going to not wear her leg for a week when she got home. And the question was, what other assistive devices can you have to be mobile when you're not wearing your leg? So what are they? And then do you use any of them?
So yeah, I have crutches. I have a walker. I have a wheelchair.
You have a wheelchair.
And I make sure they're readily available as motivation to never have to use. They're like taunting me in the corner of the room, if you're not careful, we're going to be buddies again. That's the conversation I have with myself and my equipment. Crutches, you got to have them just because of that exact reason. If you did run into a situation where you can't don your prosthetic for a few days, or you do it to protect yourself, you have a rash or whatever, you're going to need those crutches. A walker is more for, going from the bed to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It's a little quicker. And then, of course, the wheelchair is if you're going on a long trip or you got to get from point A to point B. Crutches can be daunting if you're not if you don't have that upper body strength and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of stairs, or if you're going through an airport, they can be a little dangerous in an airport just because the floor could be slick, the weather outside. So having those options is good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that goes right back to depending on others and
Right.
having friends and family and a support system and a community to help you,
And being willing to ask for the help, because that's important. And it's going to help you heal sooner if you ask for help and you need the help, right?
When at one point, I did not have a prosthetic, and family wanted to go to the zoo, and I didn't want to miss the trip. I wanted to go with my family, and one of my closest friends pushed me around in a wheelchair that day.
Yeah.
So it was okay. I got to go to the zoo, but I had to do it in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair. And we've had, I've seen a video from one of our TikTok followers who uses a scooter, like a knee scooter, when she's not wearing her leg, which is also a way of getting around. You see folks using scooters if they've had a surgery on their leg, but you can also use them in certain circumstances if you are above or below the knee.
They are the best for an airport.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just look out for the duct tape or the carpet folds.
Yeah. You don't need anyone wiping out.
Yeah, don't go fast. Go slow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So unless we have any other questions on our chat, we can probably wrap up for today. But as always, if you are watching this recording and you do have questions, if you want to know how Amputee Aid can help you get supplies like this, if you have a question about a specific product that Carl talked about, or maybe he hasn't spoken about, but you've heard about, there's a good chance you've researched it, you are into research, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. We will include our contact information with the video recording of our webinar. Our email is info@amputee-aid.com. You will get a response directly from us very quickly to answer your questions. True?
Very true.
Okay. So anything that you'd like to say as we're wrapping up our webinar today?
No. I'm happy to be able to share this little bit of information about what I do, and hopefully it's helped somebody out there in the community. Or if you have ideas as well of things that work for you, share it with us so we can share it with the community.
Please share them with us. You can send us information. We'd be happy to share that on our blog, on our social media. If you're ever interested in participating in our conversation, we can talk. We'd love to have other people talking and sharing their stories. That's what we're here to do at Life Amplified. So until next Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, take care. We'll see you all soon. Don't hesitate to contact us if you'd like some help or if you want to volunteer with our organization. Bye.
Bye.